A marble got stuck in the iron claw. The casino manager was instantly scared out of his wits, because this wasn't just a coincidence. The paw simply wouldn't close. Unexpectedly, this ironclad defense had now become a leaky door. As a marble landed on the disc, the atmosphere at the venue reached its peak. At this moment, the manager was already drenched in sweat. When he looked closely, and found that the poles on both sides of the guard were completely caved in, this is not the same as letting the enemy invade at will. Seeing the store manager's panicked expression, Endo standing nearby couldn't help but admire Kishi's wisdom. It turned out that even before the war began, Kaiji had already discovered a loophole. That seemingly indestructible guard had very fragile supports on both sides. They just need to find a way to replace the bracket lifting bag with a special material that melts easily. Then add the vacuum packaging bag inside, plus a spiked metal ball. Because of this, whenever the guard operates, the metal balls will be used to tap the packaging bags. After a certain number of times, the bag will burst, and then the metal ball will begin to oxidize and heat up. At that point, the bracket will naturally become dented. Such a strong defense would collapse without a break, and this was the original intention behind the uncle's rampant behavior at the casino. When it was time for the maintenance staff to fix the guards, the parts they used have long been disassembled and disassembled. Now that the defense has been breached, Case has decided to press the advantage. He immediately took out 10 million in cash and ordered the security guard to replace it with a marble card. But the next second, the manager stopped her. He claimed the machine was damaged. What kind of international joke is asking Case to stop this game? How could Case agree to the store manager's request? He stated, "This accident is the casino's responsibility. It had nothing to do with him, the guest." Moreover, the notice board clearly states that once the game starts, it cannot be stopped, and you can't open the window to adjust the machine. But the manager insists on not letting the game continue. Because he had already guessed keys, they replaced the parts. This caused the guard's bracket to sink. Wenting's words were met with disdain. Keys said disdainfully, "This was just, you have no evidence for your guesses. If you pin this mysterious label on me, then I can also say your guards can control remotely. Otherwise, how could hundreds of marbles be blocked at the door?" The store manager, who kept exposing the truth, was left speechless. At the same time, the audience outside the venue also watched the excitement, not minding the big trouble. They have widely criticized the casino's cheating behavior. Seeing that he had already incurred public anger, the president in front of the screen immediately called the store manager. "You're just putting a loser on your feet in front of no evidence. How can you pause the game without permission? Such behavior will only lose public support. How will they continue to squeeze money from ordinary people in the future?" The store manager, who was angrily criticized, was already stunned by the president's authority, but he quickly calmed down. Although the first two checkpoints had already been breached at the third layer's disc, but there was a secret weapon, so the manager went to the casino lobby, announcing to everyone that the game continues. Taking advantage of the excitement among the gamblers below, he secretly ordered his underlings behind him to set the disc to the highest difficulty, because he could no longer let Keith continue to act recklessly. After getting the marble card, Keith didn't hesitate to rush in. Now, the enemy only has 3 layers of discs left. You must use up both cards before you run out. To defeat him, a life or death battle broke out once again. A marble lingers and won't reach the winning spot. The casino manager immediately sensed something was wrong. Because of the 3-tier disc design, the winning slots on the first 2 layers are at the front. For example, the probability of precession is higher, but the marble remained on the first level. Could it be that Keith has done something else this time? And indeed, things turned out just as the manager had imagined. Keith had discovered the secret of the 3-layer disc even before the battle. First, in the final layer, the design of the prize gate is extremely ingenious. Behind the entrance is an inconspicuous protrusion. This tiny bump prevents the marble from falling into the hole. Second, the winning hand, so it was designed at the very innermost part. This is because they tilt the 3-layer disc at an angle. In this way, whether the marble is 100% forward or backward, none of them could enter the winning slot. As soon as these words were spoken, the uncle was stunned by what he heard about it. Momentarily stunned. He didn't notice anything while playing. Kaiji commented on this. "It is strange if you can tell it. Besides tilting 3 layers of discs, he even moved the entire stage forward with Shinji. To avoid making viewers and players feel anything off, even the entire gaming area is tilted at an angle. This is the store manager. Why did the marbles on the steps return to the pool when the uncle fell? Because marbles on the carpet don't roll. This way, no one would notice anything unusual, but it was precisely because of the manager's actions. This reminded Case of a way to crack the 3-layer disc. After hearing Case's plan, even the seasoned uncle can't help but praise you. What a genius with an IQ of 250.
That day I said, miracle.
At this moment, the pressure of cutting the wire slicing sitting in front of the machine is immense, because if you only have 20 million in hand and convert it to marbles, only 5,000 of them. Now the chance of passing Ding Ziling is 120. That means 250 marbles will enter the disc. In the end, only 6 or 7 made it to the 3rd round disc. He must use 6 or 7 of them. a single marble decides victory. Meanwhile, the store manager watching from afar was not at all concerned, had already been broken through the first 2 rounds by the opponent. But he was absolutely confident he could hold the third stage. Like leaves drifting down on a waterfall, there is absolutely no miracle of going against the current. But in the next second, the manager suddenly sensed something was wrong. Clearly, the machine and the plate are tilted. Why has the marble never entered the third tier even once? He began plotting secrets. He could not speak. Suddenly, the crowd erupted in cheers. The marble successfully entered the second level. Then he smoothly entered the third level.
Will the path be opened?
Next is the summary and analysis of this episode. Kaiji's move to change the sky and day. Truly a classic. He didn't just replace the so-called bad ones. Instead, it is through the slow physical process of oxidizing heat that destruction happened naturally throughout the game. Perfectly. Avoid the risk of being discovered on the spot or before gambling. When the manager tries to stop Kaiji's gambling, Kaiji bites the game firmly. Once you start, you can't stop the casino rules, putting yourself in the position of the victim's guest, and even turn the tables by accusing them of remote control. Treat the person by the way of the person, encircle the person's body. This directly ignited the suppressed dissatisfaction of other gamblers, using public opinion to force the casino's executives to make concessions. In the past, Kaiji was mostly pushed by fate, but this time, he was entirely the game's planner. He had already set up a plan before the battle began. The entire game progression was almost entirely within his expectations and control. Participants have transformed into masters of their identity. This gave him a strong psychological advantage. For the 3-layer disc, he had long noticed that the casino had changed its tilt. So what method will he use to overcome it? So let's wait and see.